Pride Month. Today we're talking all about pride flags. Here are some flags you should probably know. That's it. Good luck, bye. Just kidding. Let's slow down and talk about each one. All right, here are 22 pride flags. They've been put through a random generator, so no particular order. The Demisexual Flag. A demisexual person is usually a person who only experiences sexual attraction when they feel a true emotional bond with another person. The black triangle represents asexuality, the gray line represents asexuality and demisexuality, the white line stands for sexuality, and the purple line, community. This flag was created in the Asexual Visibility and Education Network Forum, AVEN, by user Son of Zeal. The TwoSpirit Flag. Two-Spirit is an umbrella term used by some indigenous North Americans to describe indigenous folks who identify across and between gender diversity and sexual orientation. There are many definitions of this term and each is nation-specific. The two feathers represent masculine and feminine identities. The circle represents the unity of those two identities, and the rainbow lines are from the traditional pride flag, which we'll get to later. This was created by Tumblr user Tusanon. The Genderfluid Flag. A genderfluid person is usually a person who has a gender expression or expressions or identity or identities that are not constant or fixed. The pink line represents femininity. The white line represents lack of gender. The purple line is for combo of both masculinity and femininity. The black line represents all genders, including genders that do not align with femininity or masculinity, and the blue line represents masculinity. This flag was created by J.J. Poole. This is the Polysexual Flag. A polysexual person is usually a person who is sexually attracted to multiple, but not all genders. The pink line represents attraction to women. The blue line represents attraction to men, and the green line is for attraction to those who don't identify within the gender binary. This was created by Tumblr user Samlin. This is the Aromantic Flag. An aromantic person is usually a person who does not experience romantic attraction, or does so in a notably different way than is traditionally thought of. The dark green line represents aromanticism. The light green line represents the aromantic spectrum. The white line is for platonic and aesthetic attraction, as well as queer quasi-platonic relationships. The gray line represents gray aromantic and demi-romantic people, and the black line is for the sexuality spectrum. This was created by Tumblr user Cameron Whimsy. This is the Asexuality Flag. Asexuality is a term typically used to describe those who experience a lack of sexual attraction and or low levels of sexual desire towards others. The black line represents asexuality, the gray line is for gray asexuality and demisexuality, the white line represents non-asexual partners and allies, and the purple line is for community. This was created in the AVEN forum by user Standup. Alright, the Rainbow Flag. There have been many iterations, but here are 5 of them. Starting with the Gilbert Baker Pride Flag, made in 1978, which is the symbol of the LGBT community. Baker saw the rainbow as a natural flag from the sky, so he adopted 8 colors for the lines. The pink line is for sex, the red line represents life, the orange line represents healing, the yellow line is for sunlight, the green line represents nature, turquoise line for art, indigo line for harmony, and the violet line is for spirit. And after this, there were several iterations that led us to the traditional pride flag. This is the traditional pride flag, or rainbow pride flag as it is often called. As you can see, a few of the colors have been removed. Sorry Gilbert, pink was removed due to dye shortages. All the colors and meanings remain the same as the Gilbert Pride Flag, just indigo and pink were removed. In 2017, the More Color More Pride Flag was created, also known as the Philly Pride Flag. The black and brown lines were added to highlight the racial diversity of the LGBTQ+ community. This was created by Philadelphia-based PR agency Tierney, led by Amber Hikes. The Progress Pride Flag. In 2018, we were introduced to the traditional Pride Flag with the inclusion of Philly's black and brown and the trans flags white, pink, and blue. More to come on the trans flag later. This flag was created by Daniel Quasar. He said the arrow points to the right to show forward movement, while being along the left edge shows that progress still needs to be made. And this is the intersex inclusive Progress Pride Flag. Last year, in 2021, the Progress Pride Flag was updated to this version, which includes the Intersex Pride Flag within the chevron. More on the Intersex Flag later. This was created by Valentino Vecchietti. Are you still watching? Okay, let's keep going. This is the Bisexual Flag. A bisexual person is usually a person who is physically or romantically attracted to more than one gender. The pink line represents same gender attraction, the blue line represents different gender attraction, and the purple line, attraction to multiple genders. This was created by Michael Page. This is the Nonbinary Flag. A non-binary person is usually a person whose gender identity does not fit within the traditional gender binary. The yellow line represents those whose gender falls outside of and without reference to the binary. The white line is for people with many or all genders. The purple line represents those whose gender identity falls somewhere between masculine and feminine, or is a mix of them. The black line is for people without a gender. This flag was created by Kai Rowan. This is the Pansexual Flag. A pansexual person is usually a person who is attracted to people regardless of their gender identity. The pink line represents attraction to women, the blue line represents attraction to men, and the yellow line is for attraction to those who identify as genderqueer, non-binary, agender, or anyone who doesn't identify with the gender binary. This flag was created by Jasper V through Tumblr. This is the Demi Boy Flag. A Demi Boy is usually a person who partially identifies as a man or a boy. In addition, Demi Boys often feel partly outside the binary. The gray lines represent the gray areas of this gender. The blue lines represent the typical color for manhood or masculinity, and the white line is for neutral or shifting genders. This was created by Tumblr user Trans Rights. This is the Demigirl Flag. A demigirl is usually a person who partially identifies as a woman or a girl. In addition, demigirls often feel partly outside the binary. The gray lines represent the gray areas of this gender. The pink lines represent the typical color for womanhood or femininity, and the white line is for neutral or shifting genders. This was also created by Tumblr user Trans Rights. This is the Transgender Flag. A trans person is usually a person whose gender identity doesn't align with the one they were assigned at birth. The blue lines represent the traditional color for boys, while the pink lines represent the traditional color for girls. The white line represents those who are intersex, transitioning, or see themselves as having a neutral or undefined gender. This flag was created by Monica Helms. This is the Genderqueer Flag. A genderqueer person is usually a person who does not subscribe to conventional gender distinctions, but identifies with neither, both, or a combination. The lavender line is a mixture of blue and pink, which represents people who identify with a mixture of femininity and masculinity. The white line is for agender people, and the green line is the inverse of lavender, which represents people who identify outside of and without reference to the gender binary. This was created by Marilyn Roxy. This is the Intersex Flag. Intersex is an umbrella term used to describe people who are born with biological variations in their sex characteristics that don't fit male or female categories. Purple and yellow are used because they're seen as gender-neutral colors and go against the typical gendered colors of blue and pink. The circle represents wholeness and completeness. This was created by Morgan Carpenter. This is the Agender Flag. An agender person is usually a person who identifies as having no gender or has a neutral gender. The black and white lines represent the absence of gender, while the gray lines represent semi-genderlessness. The green line represents non-binary genders. This flag was created by Tumblr user Salem X. This is the Lesbian Flag. A lesbian is usually a person who identifies as a woman or a non-man and is attracted to other women or non-men. The red line represents gender nonconformity. The dark orange line represents independence. The light orange line represents community, and the white line stands for unique relationships to womanhood. The light pink line represents serenity and peace. The dark pink line represents love and sex, and the purple line is for femininity. This flag was created by Emily Gwen. This is the Gay Men Flag. A gay man is usually a person who identifies as a man or non-woman and is attracted to other men or non-women. The dark green line stands for community. The teal line stands for healing. The light green line stands for joy, and the white line stands for trans, non-binary, and non-conforming. The light blue line stands for love, the purple line for courage, and the dark purple line represents diversity. This was created by Tumblr user Gay Flag Blog. And there you have it, a whole bunch of pride flags, and there's a whole bunch more. Thanks for watching.